Hello.
Hey,
Welcome back to the third annual Crimson Daggers
yeah,
Blood
Blood
Sports Awards.
So, this challenge was mine. It was the Gauntlet challenge, and what it was, for anyone watching who doesn't know, is a 2-week contest to redesign the cover to the original Gauntlet video game and format it to fit a Nintendo box from the early 90s, late 80s. So, you had 4 characters. It was required that all 4 had to be there. It was required that all 4 had to have their respective weapons. It was required that it had to be a box art for a game. And it was required that you show the studies you did along with your final image so we know that you're applying what you're learning on your own to your professional portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, far and away, in terms of the results we've seen in the Blood Sports so far, you guys put way more work into it every time we go. You keep ramping it up, stepping it up, making it better every single time, and this was no exception. It was absolutely incredible. We beat out the last challenge by I think 3 submissions or something.
Yep. You beat it up by 3.
Yeah, so 37 total submissions, I think it was, or yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy the amount of work we got. It's crazy the amount of stuff you guys did. And the coolest thing about it is that you all pushed yourselves to meet the challenge, because like we said at the beginning, this one was about composition. It was about pushing yourself to balance 4 characters on a page. It was about putting something real in your portfolio that you might not have done on your own and stepping up to really getting out of a comfort zone and learning how to balance something. And you all did it, and it was really, really cool to see the results.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that you guys, I mean, really, all you guys who entered, you did a cover image. So, just in general, just pumped that you guys put in all that hard work, like we were saying. That's a huge effort, and it's not necessarily expected that people will just do that.
Yep.
So, you don't really see that all too often in online competitions, and for you guys to have that kind of, just work ethic to put it into something that doesn't even have, any real prize other than your own self-improvement is really awesome to see, and it's motivating for me and Dan. So, it's making us excited to keep on going. But, without further ado, we can start looking at the first, second, and third place entries.
Yep.
So, first off, the third place.
Third place.
Third place is Victor Barth.
Victor Barth. Now, Victor, I gotta say, when you were judging this, you got into the top 3 because of one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You did a composition that I would have seen in a Nintendo Power magazine when I was a kid. This poster is literally something I can look at and think, oh, I would have ripped that off the magazine when I was 6 years old and hung it up on my wall. It's all there, even in terms of how you're designing the characters, how you're laying out the page, the colors, the way the whole thing's kind of desaturated, like early print. The whole thing feels like a 1989 illustration for a video game that came in the box of something else. If I bought a game and that poster was inside it, it's like I've seen this kind of image before. It's absolutely retro and it's spot on. The studies you did applied really well. The big looming figure in the background's really cool. You added, the 10 gen and the gauntlet and all that stuff and the Nintendo seal, which is great. Tons of people did that. I'm super happy. And I just love that the whole thing just screams retro. This could have been, this is one of the only submissions, because a lot of people switched it up and a lot of people got really adventurous with the character designs. But you kind of did the flip side of that, and you actually made a cover that could have been for Gauntlet. If you saw this cover on a game in an antique game store, or if you found this at a flea market or something in a video game section, and you saw that box for Gauntlet, it would pass as the box for Gauntlet. You know what I mean? It is that.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, this was a composition I didn't see anywhere else. It's really simple, but it's pretty much like what Dan said. It's what you would see back in the 80s when this stuff was coming out, and it really fits well with what the game is, and it's not necessarily an illustration for now, but it works for the challenge. It's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's absolutely retro, and I think it's a good portfolio piece. I think anyone who saw that wouldn't just, like, oh, it says Gauntlet, so it's Gauntlet. It literally feels like the cover to an old game. And like they're saying in the chat, the color palette's absolutely spot on for the kind of printing at the time. The character designs are right there. The whole composition, it's just, absolutely on every level. It is a cover that could have been for the original Gauntlet. So good job.
Yeah. And that being said, we'll move on to the critiques like we always do.
Yep.
So, first thing that pops out to me is the inconsistency within the characters themselves. It's like you had total reference for the wizard and for the girl, and you had, pretty much next to none on the faces of the elf and the barbarian.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's pretty obvious here. I mean, I like that you made some ridiculous, the old guy's ridiculous, the girl's ridiculous. The barbarian looks like he was going to be even more ridiculous than he is. And, yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. But, it's just that the face, it just looks unfinished to me. It isn't referenced like the other ones are, and it's so obvious. You could have done so much more with it. Like the difference between the girl's hand and the guy holding the axe is like night and day.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing with them holding the book. Stuff like that. Easily avoidable if you had just like put in that extra time and reference the rest of it, to match your level illustration that you had going on.
And I think you should. I think you should take the time, take the weekend, and just finish these things. Because the whole thing Dave's saying, and I totally agree, is that certain parts of it work really well with what you're trying to do, and other parts don't. Like that wizard's face is absolutely perfect, but then his robe doesn't look done. The sleeves, I know you didn't look at sleeves because they just look like bells or something. Like you're not doing wrinkles and folds. You're not getting anything out of that kind of thing. So it's like you're referencing the face on him really well, the face on the girl really well. The body on the girl works the best out of all of them. The muscles on the guy are okay, but his face makes it fall apart. The costumes in general, the elf dude kind of works, but the wizard, his body is so stiff and it's so plain and flat that it kind of takes away from that awesome portrait you did of the guy with the beard, If his body was on that same level, it'd be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing about it is they don't, I get the retro look of it, and if that's the point, then I get it. But just in terms of the illustration, it looks like you drew them all separate from the actual image, besides the color palette, and then you just put them on there. There's no drop shadows. There's not a lot going on in terms of color variation within the characters themselves, with the lighting going on with the backlight orange thing. You got this volcano kind of light spewing in the background. Yeah, you could have pushed that stuff a bit more.
It's like people in the chat are saying she doesn't have that typical sexy warrior thing going on. You should fix that. I actually don't really want you to. I like how lame it is and honest it is.
Yeah.
It's it's Gauntlet. She doesn't have to be a supermodel, and I like that you didn't make her a supermodel. I like that she's got some meat on her, and she's just I'm gonna fucking kill stuff. It's cool. It's just the one thing is that the stuff you referenced really tight works really tight. The stuff you didn't reference screams in comparison. So it's try to get as much study as you can. Because you got 14 days. If you do a study a day, you can hit every piece of the illustration ideally. So if you're going to fix this, and I think you should, because it'll look great in a portfolio, just reference the rest of the stuff. Fix that wizard's body, fix the barb's face, get those hands tight, get the hands tight. But it's really good composition for what it is, and it looks like a period piece. So good job.
Yeah, good work overall. I liked it. It's cool. So moving on for second place.
Second place.
We got Sean McMurtry. Sean
McMurtry. This is a great composition because it's unexpected. It's a throwback. It reminds obviously of the Queen album cover that you referenced. It works really well, and it's kind of a pun for the audience that this game came out for, which works really well. I like that you looked at the requirements of the challenge, and you were just like, I'll do exactly that. It's got all 4 characters, and it's got all 4 weapons. That's all it is, you know, and it's basic, it works, it's about the characters, it's in a dark environment, you know, it works really, really well. It's all the basics.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you remember about the game. You know, I mean, like, you are these 4 characters, there's hardly anything else going on. I mean, like, you see ghosts and stuff, but I mean, for the most part, it's all about the weapons and just the characters.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it works really well for the idea. It's a good selling point because it's exactly what the game is, and it just, you know, it works really well in the composition that you have. You know, the diamond, it looks great.
And like, now the only real crit I've got, because we got to crit it,
Yeah.
is that far and away this was a problem with almost everyone who entered the contest, and I want you all to understand something about it. Okay?
Yeah, I'll move into the image to show exactly what we're about to talk about.
Move in, okay. You all did numerous compositional sketches, which is exactly what we told you should do, and it was great that you all did them. However, the ones that you all settled on were perfect, and when you rendered the final image, you changed them. And I don't know why you did, because this compositional sketch that Dave zoomed in on, the one that you were going to use, is leagues better than the one you ended up using, because the warrior is large, he's the same size as the other characters, and his axes don't look like little tacking hammers.
Yeah, yeah, because these ones are like barbarian axes. You know, they're still a little small, but I get it that he has to throw them. But what you did is you turned them into tomahawks, which doesn't necessarily work with the barbarian.
They look too wimpy. He doesn't seem like the warrior character. You know, like with the head bigger and the 2 axes there. You know, like, and even the wizard is better in this one. He's got the bigger mustache, the puffier beard. I like the hair coming down the sides and turning up the ears. It's just a better silhouette, and the bigger fireballs coming out of his fingers. Like, everything about this comp sketch is more balanced. It's more what the image should have been. And, you know, the good thing, thankfully, is that you can make these changes super easy in Photoshop.
Yeah, and you totally should, because it's a great image. It's a great, you know, you really sell the idea, and to just drive it home, you should really push these elements and bring them back into the image.
It's just like people are saying in the chat. I had the same idea earlier. If you push this image and finished it, and you made the warrior bigger, and you finished the axes, and you finished the wizard, this could be put on a t-shirt and sold to a huge market of people. You know, like, I would wear that shirt. It would be perfect. You know, it's a perfect poster, it's a perfect shirt, it's perfect marketing. Like, you know, it's just exactly what it needs to be, but you lost that kind of square, even diamond, and you went for this more vertical, extended thing, and the warrior ended up getting compressed into the bottom. Mm-hmm. I think you need to shrink the whole thing, reconfigure it, make it what the sketch was, and it'll be really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, you know, good job overall, but push those elements back into it. You know, reference the faces a bit more. It looks like you had a pretty big idea, you know, in the original thumbnail. You had these characters that were clearly characters with the way you constructed the faces, and it almost seems like you didn't necessarily know how to go about rendering them.
Yeah.
So you, like, squished down the girl's face and stuff like that, and, you know, if you could find some reference or shoot some reference of people you know that could better help you work on it, you know, that would help you quite a bit, because, you know, while the thumbnail is really great, you know, you have to have the ability to be able to bring that to a finish. So, you know, I didn't see the studies for that necessarily in your work. Like, if I zoom in here, it's like you've done the hands and stuff, and that works, you know, and you have this sketch of, you know, Magua from Last of the Mohegans, and weapon sketches and stuff, and you did the queen thing. But there's no direct studies of the characters, like, in that lighting situation with those poses, and that would have helped you a lot.
You've shown us in the studies that you have a camera, so instantly I'm saying, why didn't you do photo referenced faces? It would have helped a ton, you know. Taking it to that level, and again, I have to repeat, if you push this to finish and you do the things we're saying, this is an instant portfolio piece, and it's going to look tons better. Because the thing is like, one thing I want everyone to understand, I've said it a few times on here, is that you can ape famous compositions. You can borrow them and make your stuff more recognizable, as long as it's not a direct copy of what you're borrowing from. You know, like, you stole this queen thing, but that's a good thing, because everyone instantly sees it and recognizes it, and anyone who likes Queen knows what Gauntlet is, more than likely, you know? So like it works on two levels. It makes the image stronger because it's a recognizable composition. It's like an
Yeah.
homage, yeah. So it's like that works. You could do this with a number of famous things. You know, if you have an assignment and you think of something really famous that's been done before that's kind of like it, you know, you can borrow elements of that. That's totally okay, and that's definitely why this one's in the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's a proven composition, and like what Dan said, you know, instantly recognizable to more than one audience, and that's the best thing about it, is that stuff like this, when you can pull from that, I mean, you shouldn't do it all the time, but something simple like that, it goes a long way in registering it with multiple people, like, oh, I love Gauntlet and Queen.
Yeah.
This is really cool. You know, like,
Exactly.
it's cool that you did that.
I know so many people that would pay for this shirt and wear it all the time.
Yeah, because it's funny. I mean, like, it's cool, but it's also funny, and it's, you know, and it's also the game. Like, it's just cool.
Exactly. So just please, I'm begging you, make those changes. Make the warrior bigger. Make the axe heads bigger. Finish the wizard. Add the hair. It's going to be so much better if you do.
So before I move on to first place, I want to talk about the people who didn't get in, but, you know, we saw their stuff and we wanted them to hopefully enter and have something, you know, to show us well.
This was really hard to judge, guys. There were like 3 runner-ups. We had top 6, and we had to work it down to top 3. It was like, we haven't had that happen in the other 2 competitions.
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't have the images right in front of me, but I don't know. Do you want to pull them up for me, Dan, or?
Yeah, I can try to find...
Oh wait, I can just log into the thing.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the names of the people who did them.
I know, it's fine.
I want to look at that Justin Sweet kind of one.
Yeah. Well, the main thing about this, and what I'm going to be talking about, is the fact that a lot of people, either they did it well, you know, and they had a good execution, but it didn't necessarily pertain to the game. You know, like, it would be well done, but it's not the game, and that's kind of the problem with a lot of them.
Yeah.
But other than that, there were other people who also would do an image, and this is something that I guess kind of got lost in translation as we were doing these. But he did the work, and, you know, he had the stuff done, but at the same time, people would submit stuff, and they wouldn't have the studies.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, that is the competition thing. I mean, like, we have to see the studies from you guys.
It's absolutely necessary.
I mean, that's the whole point of this, is that you're doing something that, you know,
yeah,
we can kind of gauge what you learned and see that you're actually applying things. So
right,
like, here...
Yeah, this image on the screen, this almost got into my top 3, and I had such a hard time kicking it out of the top 3 because I wanted it in so bad. Far and away, in terms of character design, this was my favorite piece in the challenge. But the piece wasn't just about character design. The challenge was about making a cover that felt like Gauntlet, and about composition. Compositionally, this piece is pretty boring. They're just standing there looking somewhere, and it doesn't feel like Gauntlet because it's very peaceful. It's not very dramatic. But the character designs are so good that I wish those other 2 things were there, because the wizard and the warrior especially, this was my favorite barbarian whole contest, and the girl too. You know, it's very, you know, I can see influences obviously from Vance Kovacs and Justin Sweet. It's very well rendered, it's very complete, but it doesn't feel like a cover to Gauntlet, and unfortunately it doesn't have that level of, like, you know, dramatic composition we wanted to see.
Yeah, I mean, it was disappointing because it's like, you have, you know, this is from Andrew Ryan.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, you have these abilities and you do really good work.
Yeah.
But it's the whole idea. It's the whole idea of doing a cover.
Yeah.
You know, like, if I were, you know, we're acting like ADs on here, and it's like, you really gotta bring that to the image, because without that excitement, the thing that grabs you and pulls you in with a dynamic composition, you know, it's gotta be exciting. You know, the contest isn't necessarily like your interpretation and then like the mood you want to convey. I mean, like, it's a cover image. It's a punch you in the face cover image.
Yeah.
Like, that's the challenge. So it has to have something to grab you and pull you in, and not just, you know, like, evoke a
Yeah.
fantasy, book
The
cover.
the whole thing is impact. And if it doesn't have that immediate punch like the Queen one has, like, you look at it and you're like, whoa, I know that. It's so, the lighting's so dramatic, and I know it's Queen, and I know it's Gauntlet, and this is retro and awesome,
And
Like,
it grabs you just in design.
yeah, it's fun, it's throwback, it's dramatic. And I mean, again, I can't stress enough, I love the characters in this, and I love the and as an illustration, I just love it, but it doesn't work as Gauntlet.
Yeah, I mean, like, this could easily be a book cover. It could easily be for D&D. It could easily be all kinds of fantasy publications.
Yeah.
But it's not a cover for a video game that's an exciting four-player, romp thing.
So that's our only crit for this, but we really wanted to show it because it's such a good job. You did a great job with what you did do.
Yeah, so the next one I'm going to show, which was also a runner-up, and I was just disappointed that we, didn't have the stuff we needed for this. So in this one here, we have, the 4 characters from Gauntlet, and they're all just in these really great action poses. Everything's working well, and we were going to put this in the, in the top.
It was
3.
it was in the top 3.
But
Actually,
what ended up happening was we due to the requirements that we have, we looked it over and I was like, oh, there's no studies for this whatsoever.
Yeah.
So we can't accept it.
Yeah.
And that's just one of the things is, we want to make sure and we want to stress that you guys get the most out of this challenge as possible. Like, you got to do the studies that pertain to the image. You got to work and then show us, like, oh, what did you reference? What did you work at? What did you put into it? What kind of texturing did you do? How did you figure out how to do the perspective? What did you do? So, and we need to see it.
Yeah, I want to stress, because I forget who did this piece, but I remember the stuff that was submitted.
It's Siddharth.
Yeah, you did comp sketches, and you did what you called a pencil study, which was the pencil underdrawing for the painting. That doesn't count towards a study. Studies are when you look at absolute, real-world things and you render them and borrow from them to make your painting stronger. Doing a study, as you called it, with the pencils as an underdrawing, that's a comp sketch. That's a tight comp sketch. That's all that is. It doesn't count as a study. So I don't know if you misunderstood or what, but, I mean, I really liked this image and I wanted to put it in the top 3, but it didn't meet the requirement of having studies to back it up that you've done for 2 weeks. Little crits on the side. I won't spend too long because these are runner-up images, but it's I love the foreground. In the background, the archer and the wizard are pointing off the canvas, and there's nothing there that they're fighting, so it's kind of weird. If you had bats flying around up there or something, anything for them to be fighting, or ghosts curling around or anything, it would make sense, only because the people in the front are fighting something. Yeah. But it's unfortunately, it just didn't have the studies, so it couldn't get in. But it's got great energy. It feels like Gauntlet. It's a good cover, but next time, don't just show us the underdrawing, show us the studies.
Yep, and I got one more really quick. Bear with me for a second and I'll grab it.
Is it the funny one?
Yeah.
Yeah, this next one I loved a lot. Unfortunately, the composition was lacking, but I love the idea. If the composition was there and this thing had been rendered tight to to a good dynamic comp, I actually would have given it first place. It's really a fun idea that no one else really did, but the composition falls apart a bit.
So, sorry guys. All right. Okay, I'll bring it in right now. So, third runner-up, and we were saying runner-up just because this was one we were going to do initially anyways, yeah. But the other ones are mostly because of problems just within the guidelines of the competition.
I love this image. I love the idea. A bunch of nerds and losers playing Gauntlet in the basement. I love the Questor kid with the glasses hiding on the stairs. I love the fat warrior. I love the dude in the bikini. I love the fat wizard dude with the KFC bucket. This is absolutely hilarious, and it works awesome.
Yeah.
No one else took it in a realistic route, and the only reason this didn't get in, the only reason is that the challenge was about composition, and this doesn't have one.
Yeah.
It's all messy. Like the stairs are interruptive. The guy's hugging the edge and getting cropped off. Like if you had brought them in a clear diamond shape or a clear triangle, you know, like it would have worked so well, and it would have been hilarious, and it would have been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I just wish that this had really been like pushed in just the planning period. You know, you had really tried all kinds of things, because I mean the idea is good, you know, but there's just so many things.
Yeah, if this had a solid compositional skeleton under it, it would be my favorite piece in the whole thing, because I love the idea that they're all there, they suck, all the weapons are there, but they're all made out of cardboard. Like, it's just great, but it needs to have that dynamic composition.
Yeah, I mean, just keep it in mind for next time that you know, we're gonna have a lot of focus on that kind of stuff. So, and you know, keep it in mind that might be the one thing that keeps you out of the top 3. You know, just plan for it, make sure you're working at it, and show us that you can handle it. You know, I mean, that you can actually put the time and the thought into figuring out what your image is going to be in the end.
And I just want to, as we go into the number 1, as we go into the winner of Gauntlet Challenge Bloodsport 3, I want to stress the reason this person won is because not only is the composition solid, not only are the studies phenomenal and do they back up the piece, but it's the only one in the whole composition that I looked at and said, I want to play that game so bad. It looks so fun. I can't wait. If anyone was on the stream earlier with me and Dave, I was talking about how I wish they would reboot Gauntlet on the Xbox Live. How they'd make it 2D and downloadable and make it just fun and just a thing to do.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what I wanted to see when I was talking about that. What I had in my mind is literally what this person did for the cover. Yeah. It's fun, it's awesome, it's throwback, it's whimsical, it's just great. And any kid that saw this would die to play that game.
So here is the first place, right here.
It's by PK Mike.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely phenomenal. The characters are spot on. It's cartoony. It's exciting. It's fun. It's like the only one that went with a cartoony kids route. He's got a monster in there. He stylized all of them, completely changed them. He made it exciting. It's got really vibrant colors. It's got atmosphere. Everything about it. It hits on absolutely every level of a cover image for a game that kids are going to want to play. And if they rebooted it in 2D for the Xbox Live, the kind of Bastion style graphics, this is the art I would want to see for that game.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a whole new direction for the title, and it's a great direction. You know, it's so awesome.
It's phenomenal. It's just I did not in a million years when I made the Gauntlet Challenge expect to see this kind of answer. I didn't even think cartoony. It didn't even cross my mind. And this works so well.
Yeah, I mean, each one of them is a clearly defined character. Like, I get the personality of each one. They look great. You know, I mean, overall, even the balance of color, form, you know, lighting, you got the soft versus hard, you got the depth of field, you got all this stuff going on. And, you know, you really took it to the next level. You got a high level of finish. You know, you planned out your composition. I don't have the composition up right here, but he has another page of composition sketches. This is just his studies. So, you know, overall, it's really great. You know, the saturation meets the style. It's just everything's working in this image.
Great. That little punch of blue with the wizard, just all the characters being totally different silhouettes. You got the armor on the girl. Like I want this poster on my wall. Like, I just want it. It's so fun and good and exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah, it brings the game, like, if this were the cover for the game, you know, it would bring it to not only a new audience, but, you know, it would make everybody else excited to see the new iteration of it.
Yeah. And I just think, like consistently, I love how you're pushing your style. I love that you're letting it control what you do. I love that you're bringing everything into it. You're not afraid to take these risks. Because, like, again, I got to say, when I think Gauntlet, this never crossed my mind, and it is easily the best response.
Yeah, and I mean, the style is just, it's, I mean, It's great. I can't say enough good things about this one.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, like, I know your work.
I love this image.
I mean, I follow your work because you're constantly on the Crimson Daggers thing, and you know, you enter our Golden Boy challenges all the time, and it's like just to watch your work move and evolve, and then for you to make a big jump like this. You know, you got clear narrative, good composition, good posing, clear characters. You got everything working in this, and this is like one of the best things I've seen from you, and this is really great. So, you know, awesome steps in the right direction, and you definitely deserve to win this one. So,
yep, definitely do. So congratulations, that's fantastic.
Yeah, overall, I mean, like, if you look over here, your studies, you know, you do all these studies, the lighting and everything, you know, you're really focusing on just like all the right stuff. You know, you're doing the textures for what you want to do, the weapons,
I just
painting
love
style.
the painting of the old man you did, that master study of the guy with the beard, and how you translated it into your really awesome cartoon wizard with the little squinty eyes and the tapered face. Like, the way you're applying your studies, where it's not just like I did a study and then I replicated it onto the piece, the way that you're actually doing a study and then absorbing little things and translating them.
Yeah, like, look at his lips right here. I'm just zoomed in real quick. Like, look at his facial expression on this old man.
Yeah.
Okay, now watch me scroll over to the dude's face.
It's so great.
It's the little things like that. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
it's
great.
awesome. I love that. I love it. I love how the studies are literally implied into the piece and they're not just carried over. But it's just so good. They've all got such good character. Like, I'm just gonna, if we don't stop, I'm just gonna gush.
Yeah, I mean, really though, overall, for everybody, I mean, like, you know, like, it's just crazy. I mean, all of it's crazy.
Yeah.
Me and Dan looked over all the entries, and we were pretty pumped, you know, just like seeing that everybody did it, and, you know, seeing, you know, Mike's entry, you know, being pushed all the way, you know, like we said, we've seen his stuff. This is the best thing I've seen from him.
Yep.
And I mean that in a way that everything works. It's not just rendering. It's not just character. It's
Like,
everything.
we do crits every day, and I look at this and I honestly, any crit that I can even think of for this is just, it's beyond nitpicking. It's like, I really can't think of anything you can do to improve it. Like, you really did a really good job.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just the little things that just come up to me is, you know, like, over here where my mouse is, like, the side of that dragon's face feels slightly flat, and, like, the rendering right here in the red lighting on the dragon is a little too hard, and, you know, I mean, most of it is just continuing to do what you do.
Yeah, it's just minor stuff.
You know, just keep on trying to improve yourself, keep on working on your character design, and just keep on pushing it. But great work overall. I mean, you really executed well in the challenge, and hopefully you continue to enter.
So, great job. We're going to move on. We got 2 more announcements. We have a new stream, and we have the next challenge. Should we do the next challenge first?
Yeah, let me open up a bunch of files first. And
Sport 4, Bloodsport 4 is going to be awesome. It's going to kick everyone's ass, and it's something I've never seen any of you do. So again, it's a whole new market. It's a whole new set of things you have to worry about. It's completely flipping you around. I don't think I've seen anyone in the group do this.
so this next upcoming one is my challenge. And my challenge for all you guys is the action figure box art. So
Awesome.
this is my challenge.
Awesome.
What you're going to do is design a composition based around box art. So, like, for instance, if you're checking this one out, you got Star Wars, right? So you got the stormtroopers there on the right, and their blast is going off to the left, and where the blast is, it creates a space for the toy. Things like that is what I want to see. So right here, you know, I'll move over. You got designs like this. I'm going to be providing you with a basic layout for the box. Like, I have a PSD file I'll be uploading, or I guess it's just a JPEG of just the sizing of it, you know, so you guys can cut into it like this. If you're looking at this image of the Marvel box, you know, they cut into it for design's sake, stuff like that. But basically, what I want you to do is pick from me and Dan's shitty 3 IPs, because we're making believe that you got hired, right? So you guys got hired.
We got to explain, okay, here's the thing. If we let you do anything for this, if we let you pick any kind of action figure in the world, it opens up too many possibilities where you can fall back on kind of safe spots or things you've worked with before. So what we're doing is we're offering 3 options you can work with. You can pick any one of them, and whatever they mean to you, you can do that. We're not restricting you in any way, except that you have to do something that relates to 3 IPs that we made up the other night, okay? They're very basic. They're just titles. There's no backstories. There's no nothing. When you hear the title, whatever that means to you, you can do it. You don't have to do all 3. You pick one of these 3, and you do whatever you can think of under that title.
Yeah, so keep in mind it has to work within the realm of box art. Alright, so you have to plan it like there's a toy. Aside from that, the only thing you get are these 3 IP names. We made some stupid IP names, and it's up to you to make these cool. That is the challenge.
Like retro, like shitty retro toy ideas from like 1992.
Yeah, so
like really basic ideas. So your challenge is to make this as cool as you can, because it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, you got to design the characters based around these IPs. You got to do one character, one design. You can come up with stupid, you know, like stupid little like taglines underneath the title or whatever. So here they are.
As he says them, I'll type them into the chat.
The first one is Legends of Lizards. The second one is Guerrilla Guardians. And the last one is Crystal Crusaders. Whatever those things mean to you, it's up to you, man. You can do whatever you want with those, but they have to be one of those. You gotta make something out of those. So Legends of Lizards, Guerrilla Guardians, and Crystal Crusaders. And you somehow gotta take that and make it cool and make a box art of a character that lives in that world.
Exactly. So not only do you have to like develop what the world is, you have to decide who the main character or villain's going to be. It doesn't have to be the good guy, and you got to make the box art work with that. So not only do you have to do comp sketches and character designs, you have to figure out what the world is, you have to figure out why the world is that, and here's the hardest part, okay? Because they're action figures and because you're doing a box design to sell the action figure has to have some kind of selling point. So what we mean is, what action figures have the edge? It's the ones that advertise that if you pull a string it talks. It's the ones that advertise if you push a button in the back the arm extends to punch something. It's the ones that advertise if you pull the belt out it'll spin around in a circle and scream a catchphrase. You know what I mean? So think of a gimmick, think of an illustration, and develop a character. You know, fit that into a composition. You can add any amount of text you want. Are we going to provide logos?
Yeah, at the moment I didn't put them up yet, but yeah, we'll have logos for you. If you want to start tonight, you can just make a space for them. It's basically like, you know, the same idea as all of these. It's just a small logo, it goes at the top. And I'll be posting all that stuff up on the blog. So we're going to make space, we're going to make, you know, little logos for you guys so that you can start on it. But in the meantime, you know, start on your character design and start planning out where things are going to go.
Like, we don't want you to, like, we're not asking them to render a toy in it, are we?
No. It's just the background. You got to make space for the toy. That's the challenge.
You have to leave space for the toy on the box. So show us where the toy would be, but then fill the rest of it with the illustration. If you want, if you do, like, character sketches or whatever, you could just paste that into the box where the toy would go. Like, if you really want to fill that white space. But we're not asking you to render the toy in the package. We're asking you to just design the package art and leave a rectangle for where the toy would be. Whether or not the illustration goes behind that is up to you. You can leave it white, you can have it go all the way behind it like in this X-Men one. So it's totally up to you what you do with that space, as long as your composition has a space where the toy would go.
Yep, so, you know, the deadline for this is 2 weeks from now.
Yep.
So, what is that? That's the 27th, right?
Yeah, we have a new feature we were talking about earlier on the Blood Sports blog where we have a ticker at the top that counts down to the deadline, so extra pressure. But yeah, so anything you can do with Legends of Lizards Guerrilla Guardians or Crystal Crusaders. Me and Dave are going to be developing one of them together because we came up with a great backstory for one. I'm going to be doing one character from it. Dave will be doing the other, and so we'll both be doing this challenge with all of you.
Yeah, live.
So for the past one, like I was streaming the Gauntlet this whole week. Me and Dave will both be streaming both of ours fairly consistently.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it myself. I'm like super pumped for it.
Yeah. And keep in mind, this is a great idea for all the reasons we've already talked about, but this is literally an industry you can get into, and no one ever considers it.
Yeah, and it's one of the things of, you know, like you might get this job randomly, and, you know, it's just kind of funny to try and do stuff that you, like, never really expect to ever do. But it's fun, so I mean, like it employs everything that we've learned compositionally, illustration, all that stuff. You got to do something dynamic and fun, something that somebody's gonna want to buy. So check it out.
I don't think I've ever clicked through CA or any website and seen a sketchbook full of box art for toys.
Yeah,
it's not something you see, but it's a real business, so it's gonna be good.
Yeah, so you know, really do something for this. Really try and do something cool. You know, the main job when you get a job like this and somebody gives you some stupid idea like Guerrilla Guardians, it's up to you to make it cool.
Guerrilla Guardians.
I've gotten some pretty stupid ideas for jobs.
Yeah.
And it's up to you to do it.
I had to work on an IP a long time ago for toys called Aquanoids, and it was fish-themed heroes. You know, like these jobs exist, so this is very relevant. You know. So, Legends of Lizards, Guerrilla Guardians, Crystal Crusaders. Hopefully by the end of the weekend you've all chosen one of our 3 fabulous IPs. I know it's hard to pick. They're all great. But there you go. You know, good luck. I can't wait. Like, with the amount of stuff we saw from the Gauntlet thing, you know, Gauntlet's limited. It's Gauntlet. This is so much more expansive, so I can't even wait to see what you guys come up with.
Yeah, so go to crimsondaggers.com. You know, wait a little bit after this live stream. It'll probably be up within the hour. So crimsondaggers.com, then click on Bloodsports, and from there you'll see the post, and the deadline will be at the top, the deadline counter, and you can check that out for when it's due. But yeah, so now we're going to talk about the new channel. Well, it's not a new channel. The new thing we'll be doing on my channel.
On Sundays.
Yep, so this is a whole new segment. It'll be every Sunday at, what was it, like 1?
Like Sunday afternoons.
Yeah, so like 1 or 2. We'll put up the official time, but it'll be on Sundays, 1 or 2 Eastern Standard Time. It'll run for a bit, and I'm just gonna drop the image up and play you the intro song.
Yeah.
So you can kind of gather from this picture that I'm about to show you what it is. So that's what it is.
We're going to be starting a critique stream where me and Dave paint over your images in depth every Sunday.
Yeah, I'll be doing full paint overs of everybody's work, so you guys can drop your stuff in the chat for me and Dan, and we'll both talk about it, and I'll be doing paint overs for you guys, and yeah, it'll be good. It'll run maybe like an hour and a half, something like that.
So me and Dave will literally be critters.
Yeah, yeah.
we'll be critting all afternoon.
It's the worst idea ever. I'm sorry.
That was like a throwaway idea before the morning, and now it's just the realest thing.
Oh.
Critters. Okay. Fucking critters.
Sorry, guys. I'll post them up on YouTube too after they're done for you guys.
Oh, is that from the movie? Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Oh. Just dying. Worst idea.
Oh. Okay.
So
I guess we're done.
yeah. So.
Yeah. And keep pushing. You guys did great. You know, we have a winner every week, but there's infinite good ideas, and all of you have consistently been getting better. So from me and Dave to all of you, we just want to say,
it's remember to
Never surrender.
Yeah, bye guys.
later.
Yeah, just participate.